4B0905849. My headlights didn't come on, turn signals didn't work, all the dash lights work, the blower didn't come on, so my heater wasn't working, AC didn't work, the turn signal wasn't working, but my flashes worked, and dash lights, like I said, all my driving lights worked, nothing worked. Turns out it was a short circuit in this switch, which is what I just replaced. So you're going to see, of course, after you get all the dash panels off. So the dash panels under here, I probably took a little more than I needed to. I took this piece off here. There's some little clips under here that, I don't know if I can get that under there or not. Some little clips that come out, or not come out, it just slides out of these holes right here. There's one on each side. So anyway, there's two little red paint marks. So when you take this apart, you're going to see that these right here are covered with paint. So if you've got a terminal strip screwdriver, you just scratch that paint off, and there's two little set screws, one there and then one on top. So there's one right there. So both of those come out, or you don't have to unscrew them all the way, just unscrew them about 6-7 turns. Anyway, so you can see this is the plug. I'm about to test it here, but you look at right there above my finger. It's all melted and kind of cracked, and anyway, so I suspect that's still going to work. You can see on the switch here, you can see a little bit of white residue, so it was definitely a short there. So I'm about to plug this in, and I'm going to try it again. To make it easier to pull this out, because it's a long drum that has to come out of the key tumbler. So once you pull that out, in order to get that out, actually, I unplugged this harness right here from behind the left turn signal, or the turn signal switch, and that just plugs in right back here again. So basically, it's real tight and kind of a pain in the ass to get out, but it just kind of angles back in, and it's a little tight, snaps right back in. So that went in. Then I just got to finagle this. There's two little round posts. It's a little hard to see. So on the male end, which is here, so there's a round post there, and then there's a square one in the back. You just got to make sure you get those round holes lined up with those round posts, and the square one with the square post. So these wires are all kind of tight. I'm going to push this back in here. Just got to work it. Let's see. I apologize if I'm not getting a clear view on the camera, but okay, so you can kind of see. Let's see if you can see that or not. But anyway, so just those lined up. Push that right back in place. Okay, so in order to get to the ignition here and underneath, I don't know if I removed too much, but I already took it all apart. So just real quick, there's this upper shroud that goes above the steering column. There's the piece underneath the steering column, which was a little bit of a trick because there's that rubber boot that you see right here. So this rubber boot just slides out. I haven't put this back in yet. It's going to be probably a little bit of work to get it worked around the ignition key housing there. So in reverse order, putting it back together. So this top piece is going to go in. The piece underneath the steering column will go in. There's a cover here that'll go in, and it's just those spring clips. So you pull it straight out after you remove the screws underneath. Then there's the other half that goes on this side, and then from there, I can't remember if it was I think it was this piece. So, apologize for the camera moving around. So, yeah, this piece here. So that tucks in behind the weather stripping there, and then pops in, so you can see all the spring clips there. So again, that pries from the front of the dashboard here. So I can just push that and pop that right back in. In fact, I can't do that yet because you can see the spring clip right there has to go into the one that would be by your left knee. So I gotta wait to do that. So so this would come off first. Number 2 would be this front piece. Number 3 would be the piece by your right knee, and then there's screws underneath just holding it in. And then the underside, so there's one screw. Oh, and I took the lever off, or the handle off, for the steering column. So that came off to get the under shroud here off a little easier. So there was one Torx screw. There were 2 Phillips screws. You can see one here. It's actually it's a really tiny one, and it's going to be hanging down somewhere right about here when the 2 pieces, the upper and lower steering column housings, are together. So those have to come out, and that separates the upper from the lower. But then with the steering wheel, you got to turn the steering wheel such that you can see the threaded hole right there. So I used a really skinny Phillips screwdriver. So if you do any electronics or something like that. So I had a nice long with a really small Phillips tip on it. And so basically with the key in, what do I do with the key here? So what I'm going to have to do is, start it to be a little easier. So you have to turn the steering wheel about to that position, somewhere right around there. And then when those housings are on, this screwdriver is going to scrape right here in front. And you just got to work at it, but you can actually get it. So it's going to be kind of fun putting them back together. So anyway, I hope that helps. I'll take a couple more videos while I'm doing this. Okay, now you can see the upper shroud. Again, from this spot here and this spot here, you just reach underneath. If you've got any dental tools, like those angled pointed pry tips, I don't think I'm going to be able to see underneath there, but there's just a little lip that you would pry up. If you look under there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But that just pries, and then like here you can see that mine's kind of loose, so it just pulls right out. But this side was a little sticky for me, so apparently this has been apart at one other time. But anyway, so this whole piece just kind of pulls out together as one. There's a little leather or vinyl attachment there, and you know, again, it makes it real easy if you take the lever off. So you can see it says open here, but this just slides right on. I forgot. Oh yeah, right here. So this just slides right on like so. But you have to take that off in order to get the this bottom shroud off. And as you can see, it just took a little bit of work, but you just kind of force it, and that little rubber boot fits right back around the ignition. So again, here's one screw that has to come out with a small Phillips. There's another one underneath here, and again, once you turn the steering wheel, you can get to this one here, and then on the opposite side, there's another one here behind the steering wheel, right there where my fingertip is at. But again, you just turn the ignition to accessory, so you can turn the steering wheel around to the other side. So, so I'm going to put that back together, and then I'll show you I'm putting the rest of the dash back. Okay, so that was a little bit of a trick. Again, trying to get these, it was really, I mean, if you took the steering wheel off, it'd probably be a lot easier, but, you know, not that I'm being lazy, I just want to skip steps as best I can. So you can see it's kind of an angle to get at, but again, it was a real small Phillips head, and just had to work at it a little bit, leaving that top piece open at first. You can kind of see right there where the screw went through. So right down there at the tip of my finger, it's right there below that barcode, and then the same on this opposite side too. So you can see it right down there at the base of the barcode. The cool thing is the screw has like a little nipple on the end of it to help guide it into the threaded hole. So that was really smooth. Thanks, German engineering. So now this top piece just kind of lays back into place, I think. I'll be looking carefully in the back there, see if I can figure out why that gap doesn't close up. But, okay, there we go. So, I'll put these two bottom screws in. There's one there, and then again there's going to be one, where am I here? There's going to be one right there. Push that up. Neat. There's going to be one right there in that hole, and that's that Torx bit. So I'll put that back together and then continue. Alright, so not sure where I left off, so that got plugged back in. You can actually see a little bit of exposed wire, so I'm probably going to come back in here with maybe some electrical tape or something to see if I can coat that so it's not exposed. So anyway, I'm going to grab the key, see if it starts up. What did I do with the key? So my lights come on. Good, car still starts. That's a plus. Alright, so now I'm going to try, yay! If you look in the garage, you can see the lights turning on and off. So that's working now. Yep, you can hear the blower on. Yep, getting hot air. Wipers are working. Yep, turn signal working. Interesting. So there you have it. Again, the symptoms were the car was running, it starts, no headlights, no turn signals, no blower, no wipers, no defrost, but the flashers worked just like that. So the bulbs were all good, all my running lights were working, so everything else was not. So replacing the switch inside the tumbler there, as you can see here, that took care of it.